All right, everyone, welcome to Homework Help with Theodore. He's very excited to do some geometry and measurement. Okay. He really wants attention right now. But we are going to talk about perimeter and area to start off. So find the perimeter and area of the figure pictured below. And so we're going to copy this down. And usually, this is true with a lot of things, but especially where there's pictures involved. If you can copy something down to your own paper, it's going to be a lot easier to work with. Okay, so we got something of this shape or something 7, 2, 10, 3. All right, so it doesn't tell us everything, but remember that perimeter is just how long is the whole outside. Okay, so we just need to add everything up. Add these four numbers and then whatever missing numbers there are as well. So we got to figure out what they are. Well, if this whole length is 7 and this small length is 3, well, that tells us that this new length, this blue length, right, is just the difference. So that's going to be, okay, 7 minus 3 is going to be 4. This has to be 4. And similarly, right, this is the small length, this is the big length. So what's the difference? The difference is going to be 8. And now we can find the perimeter by just adding up all those numbers together. 7 plus 10 plus 3 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2, which I believe is 34. We'll type that in, see if we get it right. And we do. Great. We didn't answer the area part. For the area part, I'm not going to do it all out because I want to do a different area problem. Separate it into 2 rectangles. Okay. So a lot of times with complicated figures, we change it into 2 smaller figures. It's easier. So like this red rectangle and this green rectangle. And then find these areas. So length times width. Length times width. Be careful not to use this. We need the whole length on the bottom. And that'll get you to the area one. Okay, but I want to look at number 7, which is areas with mixed numbers. So this is a rectangle. And so the area of a rectangle, and you don't need to have all these formulas memorized. The area of a rectangle, a trapezoid, a circle, a cone, all this stuff. You can use those formulas. I will either give them to you or you can find the formulas online. That's okay. You don't have to have these formulas memorized. I do want you to be able to use the formulas just like we did in Unit 1. Okay. So we know area is length times width for a rectangle. So in that case, that's going to be 7.5 feet times 5 1/8 feet. All right. So our answer is going to be in square feet because we have feet times feet. And that's what squared is. Something times itself. Feet times feet. So be careful when you multiply mixed numbers. You can't just multiply you can't just multiply these guys and then multiply the fractions. You have to convert them. So you can convert them to a decimal. You can convert them to an improper fraction. It's up to you. Just you will have to do it some way. So we can convert 7.5 to 7.5. 5 1/8 can convert to 5.125. And then again, we have feet squared. It's going to be our units. And now we can just multiply them with the calculator, which I have right here. The GeoGebra calculator, 7.5 times 5.125 is 38.4375. And is that right? Oh, express your answer as a mixed number. It's nice of them to warn you. Okay, okay. Well, if that's the case, it was easier to do this by putting it as an improper fraction. Doing it improper fraction would be a little nicer here. Um, uh, that's a 16th. Is that 3/16? No, not even close, Jason. Is that 5/16? Nope, getting closer. All right, it's 7/16 for sure. 38 and 7/16. Sorry, 33. Wait. 38 and 7/16. This is why you check your answer, everyone. Flawless mathematical learning with Jason Barnett. Okay, let's go on to number 12, where we're going to talk about unit conversions. This is maybe the most useful part of this whole assignment. Okay, so we're going to convert some measurements. And again, you don't have to have all of these perfectly memorized. You can find the formulas or conversions online. I would recommend not just to type it into a converter online. I would recommend doing this by hand. That's going to be a really good practice and going to be more useful for you in the future. Being able to do both is going to be best, but for some math problems, doing it by hand is going to be better. So that being said, I'm not going to be hovering over your shoulder as you're doing this assignment, so I won't know. But this one is when you're going to have multiple steps. So I want to look at the last two. 2.9 miles into yards. Oops. Wrong button. We have 2.9 miles, and that's how many yards? And there's a lot of different ways of converting. A lot of people have a lot of different methods. I think one of the ways that makes the most sense is by multiplying by fractions. Remember when you need to find a common denominator, right? If we have 2/3 plus like 3/6, well, we need a common denominator, so we multiply by 1. We multiply this by 2/2. Notice that 2/2 is just 1. It reduces to 1. So we're not changing this. It's still 2/3. We write it as 4/6 now, and we can add it together. You can do the same thing with unit conversions. If we have 2.9 miles, let's write this as a fraction. This is still 2.9 miles. Nothing has changed. All right, this is still the same exact thing. Well, we need to multiply it by 1. But now we're going to do it a different way. What do we know about miles and yards? I don't know anything about miles and yards. You could find the conversion, or we could do two conversions. I know that 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. These are equal to each other. And I don't want miles. I want the miles to cancel. If I put 1 mile on the bottom and 5,280 feet on the top, look what happens. When we multiply fractions, the miles are going to cancel. And just like we did over here, these two things are equal. The top and the bottom are equal, so we're multiplying by 1. And now we have something in feet, right? What is this? We multiply this across. Well, I don't know. 2.9 times whatever this is. 15,312. And what are the units? Well, on the bottom, there's no units. They canceled. And on the top, the units are feet. We're closer. Now we do it again. Well, and you can do this all in one step, but I'm trying to keep things simpler. 15,312 feet can be written as a fraction, like this. And now what do we know about feet? Well, we want yards. Well, I know that 12 feet, nope, that's not true. I know 3 feet is the same as 1 yard. Well, which one goes on the top and which one goes on the bottom? I want the feet to cancel. I don't want feet. I mean, Jason Barnett wants to have feet, but not in this problem, okay? So we want to cancel the feet. That means the feet have to go on the bottom. Otherwise, how could they cancel? So 3 feet is 1 yard. Now, when we multiply the fractions, the feet's going to cancel. And we're going to get 5,104 yards as our answer. Maybe. I don't know if I did that right in my head. 5,104 yards. Round this result to 2 decimal places if necessary. We got it. Let's do the last one. The last one's a trick question, and it will be useful for your 96 assignment this week, all right? 4 square yards is how many square inches? 4 square yards equals how many square inches? So be very, very careful, because let's do it the same way we did it before. All right. And I want to show you that you can make things a little faster for yourself if you want. All right. What do we know about yards and inches? Well, I don't know, but I know 1 yard is 3 feet. And how many inches is 3 feet? Well, a foot is 12 inches, so 3 feet is 36 inches. But watch this. If I write 4 yards squared divided by 1, and again, so this tells us that 1 yard is 36 inches. The yard's going to go on the bottom because we want the yards to cancel. 1 yard is 36 inches. We haven't changed anything because these top and bottoms are equal. We're multiplying by 1. But the yards don't cancel. This is yards squared. That's yard times yard. Is YD even the abbreviation for yard? I don't know. I'm not equipped to lecture this. I think it is. Tell me if it's not. You get yard times yard, but so only one of the yards is canceling, right? We have one of the yards canceling, so we got to do it again. 36 yards. Whoa, 36 inches divided by 1 yard. And now the other yard cancels here. So if you have yards squared, you got to cancel twice. If you had yards cubed, you'd have to cancel thrice. I like saying thrice. 3 times. Okay. And now we can multiply this all out, right? This is 4 times 36 times 36 on the top. And again, the yards squared has canceled. That's going to be, I'm not doing this in my head. 4 times 36 times 36 on the top. That's 5184. We're blue now, apparently. Inches times inches. That's inches squared. The bottom is just a 1. Oh, okay. We have 5184 inches squared is our answer. Let's see if that's right. I sure hope so. Otherwise, that's going to be pretty embarrassing. Great. We got it. So the last thing is going to be number 14. Unit conversions for the metric system, which is way nicer. That's why the metric system was invented, to be nicer. All right, so let's look at this chart real quick. And it doesn't want us to round our results. All right, convert as indicated. So base unit, that's going to be meter, liter, gram, whatever. And then if you say deci, that makes it smaller. Centi, smaller. Milli, smaller. So a decigram is a tenth of a gram. Centigram is a 1/100th of a gram. Milligram is a 1,000th of a gram. And you can go the other direction, right? That's what this chart is doing. I don't know why bigger is to the left. A little counterintuitive. But I didn't make this chart. I grabbed this from somebody else. It keeps you on your toes. Make sure you're reading. Always read those instructions, okay? Very important. So, 1,363 meters is how many kilometers? 1,300, we're just all blue now. 63 meters is how many kilometers? So, you can do this exactly the same way that we did the last problem. There's quicker ways, like some shortcuts for it, but I want to show that you can do it the same way, right? Well, what do we know about meters and kilometers? The meters is going to be the base unit. Kilometers is 1,000 of the base unit. So 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. That's what it means. That's what this chart is trying to tell you in a somewhat confusing fashion. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. 1 kiloliter is 1,000 liters. Don't get me started on why we say kilometer and not kilometer. Because we say kilogram, kiloliter. The emphasis is on kill. But for kilometer, no. Not my department. Whew. Okay, so we can do this the same way as before. 1363 meters divided by 1. We know that 1,000 meters is 1 kilometer. And just like before, the meters are going to cancel. Let's get back to the original color. And we get 1363 divided by 1,000. That's 1.363 kilometers. Okay. And in fact, when we're converting in this metric system in this way, all we're doing is moving the decimal place. So a kilometer is more than a meter, 1,000 meters. So you could have just said, 1.363. But this conversion method that we used earlier also works. 1.363. And you can do the same idea. Liters of juice, 0.8 liters, 0.83 liters. And it's asking how many centiliters. Wait, am I using capital L or lowercase l? Capital L. All right, well, we know that 1 liter is 100 centiliters. So now we're going the opposite way. We need to move the decimal place twice. Which way do we move it? It's okay if you guess wrong. Think about whether your answer makes sense when you're done. So this is my guess that we move it to the right, and we're going to get 83 centiliters. 83 cents of something should be 0.83. You can think of cents in dollars. It's the same idea. We could call it a centiliter. All right, 83 centiliters is 0.83 of those liters. Okay, that makes sense. Woo. All right, 0.83 we got right here. Whoa, no, we don't. 83 is what we got here. And now we can really go make things more complicated. 0.05735 kilometers. And how many millimeters is this? Okay, so kilometers to meters, you're going to have to move the decimal place 3 times. Meters to millimeters, 3 more times. It's 1,000 in each. You can do this in a lot of different ways. But we can also use the logic from the last two to just say, let's move this 6 decimal. This decimal place 6 times. Which direction? Well, we need millimeters. Should be going to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it should be 57350 millimeters. And we should make sure our answer makes sense. Yeah, that's going to be 57 meters. 57 meters is smaller than a kilometer. Okay, that makes sense. 57350. Great. And 0.89 grams. How many milligrams is that going to be? Move the decimal place 3 times. 890 milligrams. Another way of thinking about this answer here is, whoa, not clicking in the wrong spot. Another way of thinking about the answer here, right, is think of milligrams as thousandths of a gram. So that's 890 thousandths of a gram. This is 89 hundredths, which is 890 thousandths. 89 hundredths is 890 thousandths. Similarly, centiliters are hundredths of a liter. 83 hundredths of a liter is 83 hundredths of a liter. Ah, great. and vice, and I don't know how you do that same logic for this one. I'm sure there's a way. But a kilometer is 1,000 meters. So what is 1.3 thousand meters? Well, it's that. Great. Let's see if I got it right. Nice. Great. No mistakes today. I joke around, but like I make mistakes all the time. It doesn't have to be easy math or hard math, whatever. I'll make mistakes. So when I grade y'all's quizzes and stuff and you go, oh, that was a silly mistake. Well, I do it too. All right. Let me know if you have any questions, and there are more videos if it would help you. So bye-bye.